Hello. Hi, who's here? There's always a little man pops up, but then I don't always get everybody. Hi, Sierra. I owe you an email, so this evening I'll be emailing you. Hi, 3B Curls and me. Hi. Hi, Beauty Bar. Before we get started, there is, of course, we'll do a little housekeeping for anybody that's new to my scope. There is a little man down in the bottom right corner. If you click on that guy and share with your followers, I would greatly appreciate it. My scopes are about building a beauty brand and all that's necessary to start it and also to continue to grow it and scale it. So there's often people that want to jump into this business that have no idea how to do it. So if you share this scope with your followers, then you'll be introducing me and the concept of a cosmetic chemist and a beauty brand strategist to your audience. Also, thank you to everyone who helped me to reach my goal. Yesterday I mentioned that I wanted to, hi Tia. Yesterday I mentioned I wanted to reach a goal of 10,000 hearts, and you guys helped me do that. I was nearly there in the live broadcast, but then in the replay I got some hearts, so I appreciate that. Thank you, Sierra. Let's see. So keep in mind if you're watching the replay, you can give me hearts on the replay too. And the hearts just show me that what I'm saying to you is actually like hitting home. You're learning information that you didn't already know, or it's helping to confirm some things that you wanted to do or thought about and you weren't sure about. So that's where we are. So let's just jump right in. Hey, Natural Mixolog. It's probably mixology, isn't it? I can't see it all, but I would bet. Danica, hi. Hi, Rashida. Thanks for inviting followers. Okay, so here we go. Saturated market. I get this a lot. Hey, Stassi. A lot of people are afraid to jump into the beauty industry and start a beauty brand because they feel like the industry is saturated. And they're right. The industry is saturated. The good news is beauty consumers are not necessarily loyal consumers. They're not necessarily loyal to one particular brand. So because a lot of us we're beauty product junkies. We like to try different things. I follow, if any of you guys follow this blogger, Felicia, her blog is This That Beauty. You'll see in her posts, like on Instagram and also on her actual blog, she has a beauty cabinet full of products. She's not loyal to just one product. I mean, it's still part of her job. But I mean, if you're a beauty blogger, it's part of your job because that's what you love. I love her too. She's pretty dope. She has like all the skincare products. So if you'll notice, she'll be rolling with one thing for a while and then she'll switch to something else, or on any given day, she'll say, oh, hey, I thought I'd give this one a run today. And so she's not the only person like that. Her blog thrives because other people are like that as well. So we don't really have to worry about a saturated market in that perspective. The thing that makes you stand out, when it allows you to be able to function and grow and flourish in a saturated market, is your branding. So just to put things into context, you guys know that Tom Ford has a beauty line, right? Tom Ford didn't hesitate on starting a beauty line just because Chanel already had one and had one for many, many years. Tom Ford in 2011 launched a beauty line. He tested the market. He started with a private blend 12 color collection of lipstick. It was available for pre-order. You could only get it in certain stores. You can only get it in Tom Ford. You could get it at Neiman Marcus and Bergdorf. That's where you could get it, and you could pre-order it. He sold out in pre-orders, okay? So once he sold out there, then he was able to convince, he built his brand with Estee Lauder, which is huge. You know, Estee Lauder is a huge holding company within the beauty market. It's not just their core brand. They have a full portfolio of brands that they represent and that they hold. So he works with Estee Lauder to build a 132 SKU or 132 product beauty line. Okay, so after he did just 12 colors, remember we've been talking about starting with just one product and using that to as an anchor to grow your beauty brand. He started with just one product, lipstick, in 12 colors. And that turned into a full launch of 132 products all at one time. Okay. So he didn't think twice about doing it just because Chanel had already started a line. He built his brand and he released his product with his own branding, his own values, his own culture. And people came to buy his, and it was probably the same consumers. It was probably the same customers that own Chanel, that own Estee Lauder or whatever. Those same customers then turned around and bought what Tom Ford had to offer. Hi, Janome. So, driving and listening. Hi, what is it? Barber Lounge for Men. Oh, cool. I want to do a men's grooming line. So if you want to do that, catch up with me, because I'd love to do a men's grooming line. If I don't do it for a brand in particular, I'll do it on my own and sell it, either with licensing or as an outright sale. But that, I digress. So what it takes is building your brand, your own brand story. Okay. A brand is more than just your Cynthia, first time here. Hi, Cynthia. Oh, wow. It's new people here. I will. Okay, let's see. If I click follow, I think I can follow you now. Yep. Okay, I'm following. Okay, so if you want to start, you have to have your own brand story, your own brand values. You have to know who your ideal customers are. So that's very important. Let's talk about your brand and your brand story. You need to build your brand as if it's a person. You know, as adults and as women, we have children and we seek to raise our children in a certain way. We want to develop them in the way that they have integrity and they have character and they're intelligent and they're well-rounded and they're sociable. You know, all these different qualities that we like to try to cultivate within our children. You have to do the same thing for your brand from the very beginning. So when you sit down, I hope everybody that's tinkering around with the idea, you should always have a notebook. I know a lot of us creatives and ambitious people that are entrepreneurs or aspiring to be entrepreneurs, we keep a journal, we keep a notebook. We'll have several at a time even, and we just fill those up with ideas. So you need to have a notebook that is dedicated to your beauty brand so that you have a place to put all your ideas and everything that you want to be felt about your brand, the experience that you want people to have and how you want your brand to be perceived. All that needs to be written down. And then you can start to build a strategy around how to build your brand to that personality. Give your brand a personality, and that personality will shine through the packaging, which is the labels or whatever you have printed on your bottles or your jars. If you have boxes, if you have little note cards that go out with every shipment, whatever it is that you do for your brand, your story, the personality of your brand should always shine through. Your brand also needs to have certain core values so that you have a blueprint. So you're not introducing products to your brand that don't really fit the brand and don't really fit your customer base. You always have something to follow. And that brings me to Chanel. So the Chanel brand, of course, was run by Coco Chanel until she was no longer here. It's now run by Karl Lagerfeld. His name is kind of hard to say when you... Wow. But it's now run by Karl, and his job as creative director is to ensure that the Chanel history and the core values of that brand and what she built is carried through from the past into the present. Part of their brand story, part of their history, and part of their branding continuously is they include the Chanel history in their modern day storytelling. They use storytelling to build their brand. So there's different ways in which you can carry a legacy throughout a brand, but you have to have that set up from the very beginning. If we're building iconic brands, which we are, as an iconic brand, you have to have something that can be passed on from generation to generation. And whether that's a familial generation or that's whoever your next CEO is or whoever your next creative director is, they need a blueprint. So you're planning that blueprint now, and you're doing that starting with just your first product. Okay. So, let's see. Also, we've got kind of talked about your, I'm speaking Rashida's language. Rashida is amazing. Rashida is a brand strategist, okay? She works with creatives. She works with lifestyle brands. She works with service industries. She's like she works with lifestyle concierge, I think is what she coined it. But Rashida is amazing at brand strategy. So if you see her notes and her comments, to tap into that, okay? Because she's gonna tell what the real is. Hi, Crochet Chic 91. Okay, so you build your brand, you have your brand personality, you have your core values, okay, all those kinds of things. But then you also, on top of that, you need to know who your ideal customer is. And, you know, once upon a time, everybody was talking about demographics. You know, my ideal customer is a woman between the ages of 25 and 45, and she makes 60 to 100K a year, and she lives here or she lives there. Okay, and starting out, before branding got to be such a big deal, and before entrepreneurship and independent brands really took off, that was enough. You just knew what general area or what general community of people you were trying to reach. Now you need to dig deeper. You need to know who your ideal customer is. It's probably, it may be somebody you know. It may be a celebrity. It may be somebody fictional that you've put together where it's like several different people you know, and if you put them all together, they would be your ideal customer. So you have to know your ideal customer as if it is a person, one person, or maybe three, not too many, because you don't want to be speaking to a whole lot of different people. You want to know exactly who you're speaking to with your brand and with your branding, so that when you're building it, it's like talking to your best friend. You're building something for your brand's best friend. That's who your target consumer is, your brand's best friend. So how well do you know your best friend? You know everything about her. You know where she likes to shop. You know what time she eats breakfast in the morning. You know what a perfect day for her is. You know what types of shoes she likes to wear. You could scroll through Instagram and see a polyvore board and say, oh, that's her. Like, my best friend would love that. There's so much that you know about your best friend because you've taken the time to get to know her. You have to get to know your consumer that way too. So when you put out that one product that you're going to launch with before the end of the year, right? When you put out that one product, you will be able to test and see who's gravitating towards what you've put out. If you've already really set in your mind and in your heart and in your branding what your brand is all about, then you'll be speaking to that person. And yes, this helps you figure out how your product fits into their life, right? So when you know who your consumer is and you know what their day-to-day is, then you'll be able to talk to them and know how your product fits in their life. So that you're building those stories, those marketing stories and those marketing campaigns around that person. You'll be speaking her language. She'll gravitate to you because she knows that you're talking to her. And she knows that you're talking to her because you've said little things and you've shown her little things in your branding that makes her feel like it was specially made for her. I had one of my friends actually yesterday sent me a meme. It was like a mom meme. Whatever, it's kind of funny, but it's like mom makes a request to the kids, nobody listens, and it said that like 3 times, and it's like mom goes back crazy, and all the kids are like, why is mom so crazy? It's like that, you know. My friend saw that and she was like, who knows my friend's life? Like, how do they know her life? That is how your ideal customer is going to feel if you've built your brand for that person. And that's what your goal is. So in order for you to, we'll just wrap it up. I won't make this too long, but I will open questions. The way to thrive in a saturated market is to only be concerned about your brand, what that brand is, and your target consumer. Hi, Patrice. Your target consumer, your brand's BFF. That's who you're concerned about. You don't really need to be concerned about competition. You don't know what that is. All you're worried about is leveling up your own business for yourself. So you start from square one. Yes, a lot of research. You start from square one and you grow on those. On each brick you lay for your brand until you've done what you set out to do. And don't feel, starting small is okay. Not really being 100% clear on everything is okay. You start with a clear plan. You think you know something. You think you know exactly what you want to do. And as you work through it, you'll evolve because you'll begin to learn more about what those people that you want, those customers that you would love to have, you start to learn about what they want from your brand, and you build from there. And then you'll begin to have like a history, like Chanel does. I was reading some history on Chanel. She was so in touch. She was so in the mix of her target consumer, and she listened to them so well that everything she delivered to them, they bought. And that was because she was one of them. She put herself in the middle of her audience to make sure she was speaking to them with what she put out, while also being true to who she was and who her brand was. Okay? So now don't think that because you're starting a brand, it has to be, because you're starting a beauty brand, it has to be based on your person. It doesn't have to be based on you. You build the brand with, if you don't want it to be, it doesn't have to be. If you want your beauty brand to be your personal brand and you give it your namesake and that kind of thing, then you'll be authentic and using yourself. But the key to all of this, the key to surviving and thriving in a saturated market such as the beauty industry, is to make sure that your brand has an identity of its own, and your brand has an authentic voice of its own. So it's not trying to be like everybody else. You figured out how you can stand out, how you want to stand out, what you want to use to make your mark on the world, and that's what you do. So that is how you survive. That is how you thrive in a saturated market. Another way is you don't try to play mass. Okay, we've talked about this. Everybody knows what I do. I build iconic brands. I develop high-end beauty products. So I don't do anything on the mass market. You won't win on the mass market. You won't make enough profit. You won't survive. You'll be hard pressed to get shelf space. It's difficult. What you do is you make high quality products, you price them on the higher end, and you deliver an impeccable brand story. You deliver an impeccable presentation of your packaging and of your message. Yes, you can't aim for everybody because you won't get anybody. Nobody will listen. Like, can you imagine putting out lotion and trying to compete with Jergens or Johnson & Johnson with your product that you've paid your hard-earned money for, you've sweated in your kitchen or in your own personal lab putting this together, and then you're fighting for space on the shelf at Walmart? How that doesn't feel authentic to me. That doesn't feel like something that anybody would really go after. I feel like people that start as an independent beauty brand in this industry, anybody that starts now and decides to play mass, that's out of fear. That's not out of what you can really do. You can accomplish so much more if you just go for it and you price yourself and position yourself and deliver it. Don't forget, it has to be a high quality product, but you position that where it's not attainable for everybody, and you're really speaking to a particular audience, and it's the type of people that it's just them that'll understand your message. Everybody else won't get it. It'll be like over their head. Okay. Like, everybody can't read the Wall Street Journal. Some stuff is just over people's head. You want to set your brand up where everybody's not reaching and grabbing for it. So you'll have people that won't think about it at all. You'll have people that desire it and never quite get it. And then you'll have the people that you're speaking to specifically, and they want it and they want to covet it, and they don't want the masses to even know. So exactly, you're building your own cult following. That is what you have to do. Know your worth, build your own cult following based on your brand story, something very authentic, something that you can carry. Now, I talked about it in the brand not having to be your namesake or built on your own personality, but it still has to be something that you connect to well enough that you can consistently tell that story. How do you build this with a small budget? So, with a small budget, you have to take advantage of all the free avenues that are out here. The internet is free, and there's bloggers out here in every industry. You have to know, I strive to have a high-end brand, but the funding is not there for every avenue. Oh, Sierra, I got ideas for you. I'm telling you, I got a whole email planned out for you. But what you do is you position yourself. You start with the bloggers, the people that are accessible to you, that you can reach out to and tell them what you're doing and how it matters to them. And then you start to speak their language. You develop these relationships. Social media is a really good place. I always say I started my business back in 2009 with the money I had left over from my tax return. after I bought a car, because I didn't have a car at the time when I started. So my car had, interesting story. I was driving and my car caught on fire. Okay, so I had to buy a new car with my tax return, and then I spent the rest of the money building my brand. I didn't have money for marketing. My graphic designer ran off with my money for my website, so I had to build my own website. I learned a whole lot on my own, and I got my first customers, my first clients. Mind you, I was doing product development and manufacturing. I got my first clients through relationships on Twitter and LinkedIn. It was free. All I had to do was position myself with the right people. I went in with a strategy. I wasn't following everybody on Twitter. I wasn't following everybody from Detroit that was living the social scene. I wasn't following those people. I knew who I wanted to work with, which at the time was independent beauty professionals. That's like hairstylists, spas, salons, makeup artists, estheticians. So I looked to see who was making the most noise on Twitter and who was like booking work and who had an audience. And I built my following from there. That's actually how I met Rashida. She doesn't like to, she's retired from the beauty industry now, but she was a beast in the beauty industry. Okay. And she knew everything. She knew everybody and everything there was to know about that industry. And I met her on Twitter. So that was like over 5 years ago. And we've built a serious business relationship. And we know each other really well now through business and personally. But it all started on Twitter. That's where it started. My first major client I got responding to an inquiry on LinkedIn. I had positioned myself as an expert there. In my industry, I was active within cosmetic chemist groups, and so when somebody came through with a need, I was able to serve that need. I was able to answer that need. You also have to be bold. You can't be afraid of a no. You're going to get no's. You can't be afraid of those. And my parents always told me, you have to ask. The worst somebody can say is no, but at least you ask. And if you put in your pitch, you make your offer and you get it, then you won. Because once you start rolling in, once you nail that first client, that first set of customers, then you have something to grow with. You have something to grow on. You know, that's your sounding board. That's your diving board. You push off from there and keep going. So tell people what you're doing every chance you get. Yes. And be yourself. You know, on social media, branding these days, everything is about personality. People connect to people. People connect to brands. They're not connecting to your product first. They're connecting to your brand. They're connecting to how your brand makes them feel. They're connected to how you communicate with them, how you speak to them. Do you feel like you're the type of person that they would get along with or that they would like? Are they intrigued by you? These different kinds of things. No means they're thinking about it. Yeah. Like my dad always says, everything outside of death and taxes, everything's negotiable. So, and then there's this other saying where if a man says no is no, if a woman says no, it means maybe. So, and then I have another friend of mine, former client, Arian Simone. She always says, if you're getting a no, you're either asking the wrong question or you're talking to the wrong person. So a no is really not like the end all be all. It helps to, relationships are the key. A no helps to refine your message. If you get a no from someone and you keep prying and you can't get the yes, at least you know what you need to do next time to get the yes. So there you go. Hi, Stephanie Yomo. Do we have any other questions? I'll take questions because I'm pretty much done. In business, no is not now. Exactly. And you have to, that's another thing. You have to know, you have to know what objections are coming, you know, what are the typical objections, why people say no to you, because sometimes it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with the product. Sometimes it has to do with their budget. Sometimes it has to do with the time of the year. Because if you're looking for a yes from a big brand or a bigger company, or like a retail, they don't always buy. You know, sometimes it's not always a consistent buy. Sometimes it's a buy season. So a no might just be, we're not ready for you right now. But they won't necessarily tell you, not right now, 3 months from now, we'll be ready. They're not going to tell you that necessarily, because they get bogged down anyway. That's up to you to know or ask, okay, so if it's no right now, why is it no? And if it's no because you're not ready yet, when will you be ready? When can I ask you again? What do I need? And then it's a good point of research. What do I need to do differently in order for this to be a yes for you? There's my colleague, my friend Patrice, hooked me. She put us onto this. It's a TV show called The Prophet, I believe. And it was this one particular episode about this brand called Lano, or the Lano brand. Basically, they had built a brand around lanolin, using lanolin in lip balm to cure like chapped lips. And it was based on the fact that women, new mothers use lanolin on their breasts when they're breastfeeding because of, you know, chapped nipples and all that kind of thing. So she suffered from chapped lips like her whole life, and she just had this bright idea while she was nursing to just put a little of that same lanolin salve on her lips, and it made a world of a difference. So she built a whole brand on that. Long story short, the basis of the show is there's this guy that comes in and he completely whips a brand into shape. And doing that with this particular, if you haven't seen that episode, you need to watch it. I'm actually planning out, I want to do a blog post about it, and put a link to the video up so that people can understand what I do, and then also how it helps. But in this particular instance, once he decided how he was going to revamp this brand, he took them into different retailers that he wanted them to be positioned in, and he got their feedback. So they went to Birchbox and they sat down with the buyer or the curator for Birchbox, and she immediately told them everything they needed to know. She said, no, you know, we're not interested in this. You know, you were going somewhere with the Lano story, but then you kind of got off track, you know. So she was very honest with them, and he was sure to ask, what do they need to do? What do we need to do with this brand so that when we come back, we get the yes from you? And she told them. And what did they do? They went back, they did what she said, and she immediately put them in the box in the stores. The same goes for QVC. They told them immediately, we're not interested in this, but what we are interested is this. Can you build more around this? Can we focus on this? You know, so the no from a retailer is not always a solid no. It's usually you need to pry more, and you need to get more educated about what they're looking for. And if you're sitting in a meeting, or if you're on a phone call, if you have an email, you have access to the person that can tell you. So it's just a matter of asking and using your network. I actually had a friend, someone that I went to middle school with, that was I want to say exec. I don't know exactly what her level of work was, but she worked for Target. She worked in marketing. She wasn't doing the buying, but I sent her an email. Hey, I want to get a couple of my clients positioned. I know somebody that's interested in being positioned at Target. What does it take? So she didn't know necessarily, but she had access to the buyers. So she sent a note to the buyers. They sent one back, and they gave me so much detailed information about what it takes and where that person should go to be seen, and, you know, how to get placed in Target. It was amazing. And it was all because of the relationship that I had, an old relationship. Not even that we're not like best of friends or anything like that, but it was still a relationship, and not being afraid to ask for what it is that you need. So that's what it comes down to when you're trying to get retail placement and you don't really know what to start, or when you're trying to get those first sales and you don't really know what to start. You have to build that relationship. You have to be accessible to people. You have to show people that they can like you, show people that you're authentic in your own personal brand, as well as in your product brand message. So that's that. Any other questions? How many hearts did I get today? I really like Periscope. I like that I'm able to communicate with my audience and answer your questions in real time. The type of information that I give here, is before now it wasn't this accessible. Because I can't answer everybody's email in depth this way before they become a client. And I give my clients what I call red velvet rope service. Or velvet rope service, red velvet. Am I hungry, guys? Do I want some cake? Probably. But I give my clients velvet rope service. I only work with 5 brands at a time when it comes to formulating and building a brand. So I can't work with everybody this hands-on. I can't implement this much with everybody. But I'm able to make myself accessible where people can ask me questions via Periscope. You can subscribe to my list where I send out more information like this in writing. I enjoy writing. Periscope has become easy for me, but I feel like writing is good because you can refer back to the information that I put out there, and then you can ask me questions via email if you're on my list. So if you want to sign up for my list, you can go to my website, theglamscientist.com. If you're on the home page, you can scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page and sign up. It'll say what's the most important thing you can do for your beauty brand. You sign up there, you'll get an audio, you'll get a free planning guide, and you'll be on my list. So I'll be sending out an email tonight that kind of ties into what we're saying today, a little more in depth, and it's something that you can refer back to. So it would be great if you signed up for my email list today. Also, ways in which I help is I've built I wrote an e-guide, and it's called How to Make Your Brand a Glam Star. There's an e-guide and the workbook, and in that I use it to serve as a blueprint to get you started on the road to building your beauty brand. It's everything that you need to know to get your start. And the workbook is the actual activities, everything that you do so that you have actionable, you're taking action and you're recording that action, and you have a set of information that you can use. So I'm selling the e-guide and the workbook. Also, I'm offering a rare opportunity for you to get coaching with me. So we can do this, what we're doing now, one-on-one, where we're talking specifically about your brand, what products you need to launch, how we can shape your branding, and how we can get you prepared to launch at least one product by the end of the year. So there's coaching for that. You can do 1 session or you can do 2. If you pick a second session, then in that we'll do implementation. So anything that you struggle with, any of the assignments that I gave in the first session, if you struggle with those, if you had trouble with implementation, or if you sparked more questions as you went through the work, then we'll work through those as well and make sure that you have a product ready. So those are ways in which I'm accessible right now. And I really would like I said, I have a goal. I'm committed to helping 10 beauty brands launch a new product before the end of the year. That doesn't have to be a brand new beauty brand. Yeah, there's hope. There's always hope for your beauty brand idea. Always. Sign up for my list and email me. Also, my email is info at theglamscientist.com. If you have an idea, you want to know if it's going to work or how it might stand out, you're ideal for coaching. Also, the e-guide, the workbook, launching a new beauty product, it doesn't have to be for a new brand. It doesn't have to be that you're starting from scratch. It could be that you're a little stagnant right now in your existing brand, or you want to expand, you want to extend it, but you don't necessarily know what would be the best way to go. Maybe you need help working on your brand story and your brand values so that you have something sustainable to build on, and so that you can look back and have your own Chanel history story. So everybody's a candidate for the e-guide. Everybody's a candidate for coaching. If you feel like you need more, if you feel like you need me to walk through it with you, you want consulting for me to help you with that A to Z. If you need actual product development, all those kinds of things I also offer. That's my higher price point offering. So it's not as accessible. It's definitely an investment, but it's a minor investment. It's a small investment for someone that's building an iconic brand. What I'm doing is I'm setting up individuals, women. I have a passion for women. I like to see women making power moves, in a man's world where men are making more money, culturally, they're just making more money than us. They're in more positions of power. I like to see women that are ambitious, and they can actually see their dreams coming to fruition. So I want to build $1 million brands with you. I want to build multi-million-dollar brands. I want to build billion-dollar brands. I want to build brands that are in position to sell, that are in position for acquisition, so that Estee Lauder or LVMH or, all those big holding companies come knocking on your door. Coty might come knocking on your door and saying, hey, we want to buy your brand because you've done such a good job with it. So that's who I am. That's where I am. And if you feel my passion for that, then Patricia shouting. If you can feel my passion for that, which is what I like most about Periscope, because it's one thing for me to tell you that I'm passionate about it in an email or whatever, and it's another thing for you to see it. So if you feel that, email me, purchase an e-guide, purchase a workbook, purchase some coaching, and I'm here to help. If anybody has questions, I'll answer. Otherwise, I will get off. Thanks for the hearts, everybody. Oh, I can't wait to see what the heart count is today. Okay, well, that's all. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.